Welcome back, everyone. In this lesson, we want to go ahead and take a look at some special methods that are called Dunder Methods. I've been promising this throughout some of these video series, and I'm going to go over these funny looking methods that have double underscores underneath them before and after, and they're generally called Dunder Methods, and they allow for what we refer to as method overloading. So now's the time to actually see what they do. Let's get started by creating a brand new Python 3 notebook. And I'm going to call this one 015 Dunder Methods. You can find the link to the code in the description, by the way. To start with, I am going to go back to 14 classes, and I'm going to copy and paste the last class that we created, so I can execute it a lot faster because I'm going to be using some of that. So let me scroll down and get this. The big one, this one. So I'm going to select all that and paste it in here. Let me make a note here first and foremost and paste that in there. I'm going to go ahead and close this and actually shut it down. Good to go. Let's go ahead and execute this. So we're good to go with that. All right, so let's put some more notes over here. These are special methods surrounded by double underscore. Okay. They allow emulation of some of the built-in behavior in Python. They also allow for method overloading and overriding. Okay, first and foremost, what is method overloading? We'll see overriding later. We've actually seen this. As an example, the plus operator behaves differently for numbers and strings. I can say print 1 plus 2, and then I can say print A plus B. And you can see that for one, it adds the numbers. For the other, it concatenates the string. So that's basically overriding. Let me go ahead and create an emp1 using the employee class that we have up there. I'll stick to Bugs Bunny. And let's say Bugs' salary is 100,000. We know we created this method to print full name, etc. But what if somebody, just a print and they print emp1? They get greeted with something like this that shows a main Dunder method. And it says this employee object at this particular location in the memory. Not very useful, to be sure, at all. What can we do to make this print statement be a little bit nicer? Well, what we can do is we can modify this code with one of the Dunder methods that is used for representation. So I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to go under, let's say right here, good spot for it. And I'm going to put in adding double underscore representation, basically double underscore. So this is going to allow for a better representation of the object when printed. Representation is spelled correctly. We know that we have this double underscored representation. What I can do is I can override it right here. So this is an overriding, pretty much. Combination overriding, overloading. We pass to itself, and instead of returning the memory address, I'm going to say return this thing. I'm going to return an employee, parentheses, parentheses, and I'm going to put in here placeholders, comma, space, comma, space, that, and then call the format method of the string here. And what am I going to return? Well, I'm going to return self.first, self.last, and self.pay. And I'm going to execute that. Now that I have that, if I were to go and print emp1 like I did before, I have to execute this. And let me recreate M1 and then print it. Notice this time it returns a friendlier response that people can say, okay, well, this is an employee, Bugs Bunny, and salary of 100,000. Pretty cool that we can actually do this. We can override this stuff. So the underscore representation, let me make that note here, makes the output be this instead of the default. We overrode it pretty much. That's what we did. Oh, it's Windows and its funny stuff. Let's add another one. So I'm going to copy and paste this last code that we have. And I'm going to add another one of these Dunder methods. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do another definition. Def double underscore string double underscore. Pass to itself, the object itself. And this one is going to return, let's say, this space hyphen space, and then call the format method and return self.first and self.last. They're going to take these placeholders. Of course, it helps if I spell return correctly. A note, double underscore s string double underscore actually calls double underscore rep. So this is going to call that in the process. Let's do a shift enter, and I'm going to take my employee and recreate him. Let me copy and paste Bugs Bunny here. Then I'm going to print employee 1 again. And this time it just comes out as Bugs Bunny. Okay, we could go ahead and add in, for instance, the email address if we wanted to. Let's do that. Let's modify this slightly. So instead of saying self.first here, I'm going to go in here and say, you know what, I want you to return first.fullname, which is a method that's built in that returns the full name. There it is. And here we're going to return self.email. Let's go ahead and execute that and execute this one and execute this one. And this time we're getting Bugs Bunny with that stuff. So quite handy to be able to do these overriding of things. What if I want to get one of the particular one that I had, for instance, the representation that was up here? I can still do that. I can say print and do repr and then pass to it employee 1. and it will return that. I can be more specific and say, you know what, I want the string of emp1, and it will return this one. But if I do just a simple print now, the string one is the default one that gets returned. There are, this and this are calling the corresponding functions, the Dunder function. So when calling repr and string above, they are calling the corresponding double underscore repr and double underscore string. And we can prove that. I can do print emp1 dot double underscore repr and print emp1 dot double underscore string. I can do this too. I can call them this way. And I get a wonderful error message. And where did I do something wrong? I misspelled something, I'm sure. Oops, I forgot the rest of my Dunder method, except I put it in the wrong place. Over here, there you go. So there you go. This is what's being called. Now, of course, this is more natural to people, so you can do that. These are calling those behind the scene. That's what I wanted you to understand. The same thing is true with, say, addition. Addition example. I know I did this in one of the videos before. I can print 1 plus 2, and that returns 3. But in fact, what that's doing is calling the integer double underscore add double underscore behind the scene and passing to it 1 and 2. That's what's happening behind the scenes. Same thing is true with the string functions, just FYI. Okay, let's continue. I'm going to take this code that I have right here, copy it, and paste it down here. And let's say that I want to add 2 employees together. What is the definition of adding 2 employees together? So adding 2 employees together. Our definition, adding their salaries. Okay, so I'm going to create a def double underscore add, which is one of the built-in ones that you just saw. We're going to pass to it self, and we're going to pass to it the other employee. So I'm going to return self.pay plus other.pay. And that's going to be our definition. Let's go in here and create 2 employees. I'll create an employee 1, which is Bugs Bunny. One moment there. Bugs Bunny, 100,000. And emp2 is employee Daffy Duck. Let's say he gets 70,000. I'm going to print emp1 dot full name and emp1 dot pay, and also print emp2 dot full name and emp2 dot pay. So everything's working fine. Let's go ahead and add them. So I'm going to print emp1 plus emp2. By our definition, this is going to return the sum of their salaries. So you can see you have a lot of cool functionality that you can do with these things. But there are some issues right here that we want to take a look at. Let's take a look at an issue with changing an attribute. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to just stick to the employee class that I have, and I'm going to have emp_1, which is Bugs Bunny is already created. Let's print emp_1.first, print emp_2 or .1.fullname, and then print emp_1.email. Everything shows up beautifully, no problem whatsoever. If I were to reach in to emp1 and change the first name to, let's say, Babs, which is accepted, and then copy and paste this, you notice that the first name changed and the full name changed because the full name is internally built in on top of the first and the last name, but the email itself, which was part of the initialization, which is first and last, that didn't change. That remained as Bugs Bunny at companyname.com, which probably was a little bit unexpected. So the email didn't change. Let me make some notes over here for later. If you're looking at this, notice the email didn't change. This is because the email is based on the first and last names. It's not part of the function, the initialization, that we're not passing anything to it, and there is no method building it together, putting it together. When the object is created or instantiated, okay? So that's the reason why. So let's do this using a method call. I'm gonna copy and paste this code right here. I'm gonna make a small change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this email definition altogether. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a def email, which takes self, and it's going to return the definition that we had, which is self.first plus a dot plus first, last, or self.last plus at company name.edu. Okay, that takes care of that. With that in mind, I'm going to take my two employees that I created, Bugs and Daffy. I'll copy those, come down here with this change that we made. Again, it's the same definition we had, but now it's a method call. So I'll do paste. And now if I were to do that print statement again that I had before, this right here, I have to make a small change to it because this is no longer, this is going to give me an error message because email has not been properly called. It's a method now, so I have to put those parentheses there. And it works. And if I were to change emp1.first to Babs, and then do this again, it actually correctly does that. So that's beautiful. We can do that. There's a small problem. This works, but now it means that everywhere that I was basically using email, I have to go in the code and change it to email open close parentheses. This is a problem. So I'm going to make a note here. While the above works, it requires all subsequent code be changed. all print underscore one emp underscore one dot email, for instance, for instances must be changed to emp underscore one, or print emp underscore one dot email with round brackets. To solve this issue, let's use a decorator. Okay, I'm going to come down here and copy and paste this code, this last code that we had. I'm going to paste that here. And then I'm going to go to my email, for instance, which is right here. I can do it for name too, for full name. And I'm going to put a decorator there that says at property, which means treat this as a property. Okay. So property decorator allows the class to have getters and setters like some of the other languages, and it basically allows the method to be treated like an attribute or a property. Let's do Shift Enter and get my two users here, copy and paste them. And I'm going to go back and get the print statements. All right, now again, if I do this, I get an error message because this is now being treated like a property. Let's actually treat it like a property, and it works beautifully. Let's say I do the same thing for full name. It sounds like such a cool idea, so I'm going to go to full name and put at property. Let's recreate these. I get another error message here. I'll take out the parentheses, and it works just the way we expected it to. So by doing this, we take care of the issue that if the first name is changed, we were having a problem, but we changed it to a method which of course required us to use parentheses, but using a decorator, we take care of all of these issues. So I just changed the first name from Bugs to Babs, but notice it works just fine. It changes it to babs.buddy@companyname.com, which is great. Now, we have another problem because of this, another issue. With a method, we can pass something to the method to set something, but with at property decorator works great, but we can't set anything with it. Case in point, emp underscore one dot full name. If I set it to, let's say, Porky Pig, we'd expect this to work, but it doesn't, because it's a method. It worked up here because this was an attribute. So that is a problem. We can't do that. Let's go ahead and fix that. I'm going to copy and paste this code up here. I realize this video is longer than usual, but I hope that you're enjoying it. So what are we going to do? We're going to come over here to say full name. Where was it? There it is, full name. So I'm going to say at property. I have that for full name. I'm going to add something else here. So I'm going to come down here, do a def. I'm going to put at full name. So I'm going to use the method's name, and this is not a def, this is a decorator right now. We'll do the definition down below. But I'm going to decorate this at full name dot setter. So let's go ahead and add this here. And this is going to take self and a name. Okay. So basically this created first, and then we use this method as a property itself. We're going to have a setter for it. And this is going to take the first and the last and set it equal to the name that was passed. We're going to call the split method on that. And split, nothing passed, use a space to split. I mentioned that in another video at some point. I'm going to let self dot first to be equal to first and self dot last to be equal to last. I didn't have to do that. I could have actually done it up here, self dot first, self dot last, but I think that's a bit clear at this point. Okay, so great, we have this. Let's shift enter that, and I got an error message, invalid syntax. What did I do? I missed the name probably somewhere. All right, so yes, I didn't put the name here. My apologies. So def full name. So this is method overloading. We're using the same method name. This takes self, this takes self with a different signature, as we call it, name. So this is method overloading. And I'm going to get my creations up here, emp1 and emp2. Shift enter. Now let's get the print statement for Bugs Bunny. And shift enter. But now I'm going to take emp1.fullName, which prior, when we tried to set it equal to, let's say something else, let's Porky Pig, gave us an error message. This time it works fine. And if I do the print statements here, everything is working as we expected. I hope this is all making a lot of sense. So, you know, I hope you're loving it. So this is pretty advanced stuff. So it's pretty cool. Okay. Keep that in mind that once we have created this stuff, if I go over here and do an emp1.fullName now, as if it's a method, you will get an error message. It's not callable at this point. Okay. So we have this problem to handle too, but I'm not going to bother with that because I think this looks pretty cool as it is. Well, I hope that this all made perfect sense. I know this video was longer than usual, about 28 minutes. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you practice all this so it's clear. And if you're enjoying these videos, please share them with loved ones and friends. As always, thank you for being a great audience, and see you in the next video.